guys, this is Exotical Sauce coming back at you with another video, and I just wanted to talk about the possibility of being robbed of certain privileges or not being aware of certain privileges that you have, just simply due to unhealthy interactions with like your parents growing up, unhealthy relationships with your grandparents. And it's not necessarily their fault. I mean, I'm not going to say that grandparents and parents don't love us and they didn't mean well. So, a lot of us grew up looking at our moms. A lot of us were raised by single moms, and they were in survival mode. They were just focused on getting to work, getting back home, putting some food on the table, getting you guys, to bed, getting clothes washed, doing household chores, getting to bed so they can get up and do the same thing the next day. And sometimes parents really didn't have a lot of time to pour into their children. Self-esteem, like building a self-esteem building mindset, or like a confidence building mindset. Like maybe they weren't given that when they were little. So a lot of parents, I noticed this too with a lot of black parents. They, sometimes they feel like, well, kids should be seen and not heard. Kids really don't have rights like that. I brought you in the world. I can take you out. Don't talk back to me. Don't have an opinion. My opinion is what trumps everything. And so some kids, they may suffer from low self-esteem because they're not being heard. I also saw like a lot of parents who feel like, well, I'm the breadwinner, so when I'm off work, I can do what I want. I don't care if there are little kids around or not, so they don't really protect kids from a lot of things that they shouldn't be seeing or shouldn't be hearing. And some imagery can be like very traumatic for children. Like I've seen in the black community where like some parents would feel like, well, I want to check out this new horror movie, and I don't care, the kids can go somewhere and play. If they see it, they see it. They don't, who cares? I'm the mama. I can watch what I want. I'm the dad. I can watch what I want. And sometimes the film will be like really bloody and gory, or like a lot of sexually explicit scenes with nudity in it. And kids might see it or hear it, and the TV's up loud, people are smoking weed or saying whatever and doing what they want, and they feel like, kids, you do what I say, not what I do. And they're exposed to that, and then nobody really thinks about the level of trauma and confusion that could cause in a kid. So now they're wetting the bed, and some parents respond with like punishing the child because they wet their bed, and look at you, you're too big for that kind of stuff. And a lot of parents in the black community don't really seek therapy. So therapy is not a big thing with a lot of blacks. I mean, it's becoming more of a thing now than it used to be, which is great. But before, it wasn't really a big deal. Before, it wasn't really something that was considered a resource with black community. With the black community, they didn't really look at it as if it was something that they could do. That was more or less something regarded as like white people stuff kind of thing. That white people do that. That's stuff white people do. That's not stuff black people do. You shrug it off, you shake it off. Be strong, you're stronger than that. You don't need no therapy, stuff like that. Some other things I noticed that a lot of parents do is that they'll like talk about like maybe a family member was killed violently, shot, stabbed, whatever. And this family member was very, very close to the child or the children, and they just kind of blurt out in front of them what happened, and they don't really, there's efforts to comfort and like hugs and stuff like that given, but Sometimes when you have a tragic loss like that, hugs and kisses is not necessarily enough. And there are more and more parents that are starting to understand that, which is good, but too many just don't. So I think the improper way of dealing with like a tragic, traumatic loss in a child's life, dealing with it improperly could cause like low self-esteem in a child, and not really parents not really knowing what to do about it, or not really knowing where to look to seek out resources to help. And then, some parents too will also tell their kids like, listen, I'm not responsible for anything else. The only thing I'm supposed to do for you is give you 3 hots and a cot, and that's it. That's all I'm required to do. And so you have like those parents that'll do like the bare minimum, just give them some place to live, and provide a roof, provide 3 meals a day and a bed to sleep in, and they don't really seem to care about their kids like that. They don't really, because maybe that's how they were treated, and so then they do the same thing, and they feel like, well, I just have to give you 3 hots and a cot until you're 18, and then as soon as the kid turns 18, they're like, well, when do you plan on leaving, getting up out of my house? You're grown now, so you're 18, so you need to be looking for a place of your own. And then the quality of meals that are fed to the children are not really quality nutritional meals. Like they're usually like ramen noodles or something like that, like some stuff that you can get at a dollar store. As long as a fast food chain, chicken McNuggets, go to bed, get out of my face, kind of thing. And that could really hurt a child's low self-esteem. And so they grow up and they treat their children that way, and their children treat their children that way, and it's just just like an endless cycle of broken human beings. And you see a lot of this in the black community. You do, and I'm from the black community. That's the only community I know of, and that's the only one I can speak of. And I see this a lot. No one is taught like the nutritional, how to read nutritional, like the labels on things, or be selective with the meals they choose to eat, buy their children fruit or veggies, or teach their kids manners. Like it's so many kids who my kids go to school with, who go to school hungry, who go to school with bad hygiene habits. Like they'll you can just smell body odor in the whole classroom. No one really, I guess, is taught to wash your clothes or take a bath. You see this in the workplace with a lot of adults too. Things that people should be taught when they're little: how to say please and how to say thank you. Yes sir, yes ma'am, thank you, no thank you. Things like that, just basic manners. And that's really a privilege, to be taught basic manners, and to be taught how to be polite and how to share and how to be considerate of each other, how to open the door for someone who's coming behind you, and hold the elevator open. Little small things like that they're huge privileges that should be taught in the home when kids are little, because children that know how to have respect turn into adults that are respectful and polite and caring and warm and personable. So when you have those traits, or when you are taught those traits, that is a privilege. It is a privilege to have parents that care enough to teach those things to you, so that when it will help you in your their whole life, because people respond better to people who are nice versus not nice. Like actually, like ratchet people really don't like other ratchet people. Impolite people really don't like other impolite people. Disrespectful people don't like the other disrespectful people. And it's crazy, but that's how it is. And I think the more that this kind of thing is reinforced within the black community, it would help a lot of children with their self-esteem, help them social climb, even if it's just like those small simple things that a lot of people often overlook. They really are very important. Also, like, it's too many young black girls who tell the story as women where they've internalized that experience on the playground with that rusty, dusty little boy that told them that, well, yeah, those dark skinned girls, I don't really know about them. I don't really like dark skinned girls. And they were not taught how to deal with that by their parents. They weren't taught how to ignore or how to brush off that kind of verbal, those kind of verbal assaults against them. Because usually the boy that says that, he's somebody that's has not been acquainted with a bar of soap a lot of times, or a toothbrush, or haven't seen a pair of clippers like ever. And he's telling her that her skin tone is not, what he wants and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of things like colorism, racism, police brutality, things like that should be taught in the home. And then how to conduct yourself in public where you are received well. Because a lot of people think that it could be coming from, just simply racism. You don't like me because, and I'm not trying to discount racism. It definitely exists. And so does colorism. But just little small things that I see coming from different people in the community that I share have like these little nuances aren't really like taught or discussed. Another thing that can hurt a child's self-esteem is not telling them how beautiful they are, not telling them how cute they are, how beautiful they are. Pouring things into your children, like sitting with your daughters and painting their nails, preparing little bubble baths for them, or spraying them with a little bit of perfume, or letting them wear your perfume to school, putting little ribbons in their hair. Sometimes little girls don't get that at home. I've seen some examples at my kids' schools where like these pretty little girls would come to school and their uniforms would be dirty. And I'm not necessarily, and I don't know the socioeconomic situation of their at home. So I understand some parents are struggling. Some parents do struggle with being able to maintain stuff like that. But at the same time, it can hurt a child's self-esteem if you send them to school where they're not, or send them out in public at all, period. And then the mothers will show up, she's clean and she's got beautiful clothes and her hair is done and her kids are looking like the little boy's hair is not cut, the little girl's hair is not combed. And a lot of times if you don't grow up and you don't see mom taking care of herself, like painting her nails and putting on her makeup before she leaves, or doing her hair, or engaging in like little soft, quiet self-care activity like, a bubble bath or lighting a candle, buying some fresh flowers, pouring into her own femininity. They don't really have time because a lot of parents do have hectic schedules. Some work midnights and have to sleep during the day. Some don't have time for that. I get it, but these are just some things that I feel can be taught to little girls, even if you don't wear makeup every day. Just teach her small things like how to paint her toes or how to paint her nails. Spend time with her, ask her who her friends are. Look through her phone, try to see who she's hanging out with and the quality of children she's hanging out with. Don't let them hang out with just anybody. Don't let them just be friends with anybody. And another big thing I see a lot of parents doing, and I think it's a mistake, that when kids get sassy with adults or get sassy with you, a lot of parents laugh at it. Like the kids could be walking around the house cursing, calling you a B word, calling you all out of your name, and some parents or grandparents will think it's cute and they'll laugh at it and they'll argue, like they'll do like a mock argument back with the little kids, and then the kids will argue more, and then the more they do it, they'll laugh or they'll video it and share it. And I just don't think that that's cute at all. And I think that once the kid grows up and gets bigger and they take on that same little sassiness, and they're still being sassy towards you, but this time they're just as big as you are, it's definitely going to become a problem. And now you're ready to knock the hell out of them, because now what was cute before is turning into disrespectful behavior. And now that it's too late because they're already grown and set in their way, and it's too late to correct them now. Because all their life when they were little and they had those little baby voices, you thought it was funny, you thought it was cute, and you encouraged it. and now they're grown and you don't like it anymore. Now at this point you have to worry about the police and how they're going to interact with the police. Are they going to comply? Are they going to behave? Are they going to behave in public spaces? Are they going to lose the attitude and go back to being what you want them to be, which is something you should have instilled in them when they were little and you didn't, and now they're little tyrants growing up to be big tyrants, and you really don't like their attitude or the attitude that they're instilling in your grandchildren. And so I think that's some stuff that I see parents doing too, that they need to get a grasp on when they're little. And now you see kind of like this dynamic where you have like a lot of people who are like quote unquote have sense, stable families, stable black families leaving the black community or leaving black neighborhoods and going to other communities because the black community is overrun with these little kids that grew up to be teenagers, and now they're terrorizing the neighborhood. They're stealing, they're killing each other, they're involved in gangs and gang violence, stealing stuff out of the stores. They just committing crimes. You can't have anything nice. You can't buy a nice car because somebody will steal it. Instead of just getting a hold of this kind of stuff when they were little. Just like you see little kids showing out in school, they mouth off at the teachers, they mouth off at adults. Like the black community is the only community that I see where you have kids who are like Gen Z, Generation Z, I think, Alpha generation, telling adults, well, I don't have to respect you just because you're old. You know, you have to earn my respect. And the thing about it is that I was always taught to respect one human being should respect another human being just off the strength of them being a human being. If you're a human being and I'm a human being, you automatically get my respect. There is no, I have to prove myself and earn your respect first, because we're only going to encounter each other with like for a few seconds. We're only going to just pass by each other, and we should respect one another naturally. We should be taught that. And it's always like, it's like these new generation of black teenagers, 20 somethings that I see saying that. I don't see any other group saying that. Maybe other groups of people do say that, but I've only seen like young black people saying that. And that is a totally toxic, incorrect way to view the world, to interact with the rest of the world, where you can just let anything fly out of your mouth, all in the name of being real. And I'm not fake. I can't be fake about what I feel. I'm just being honest. But then when somebody comes along and they're honest with you, then you're ready to fight. You're ready to put your hands on someone. And that's not the kind of image you want to promote. That's not the kind of reputation you want to have. So it's important for you to get a hold of these kids when they're little. Instill some coping skills in them, social skills in them, manners, and how to have respect for other people, how to share and be considerate and be polite. That would take them a long, long, long way. No matter what their skin tone, no matter what their gender, it would take them a really long way. So that is indeed a privilege, a social climbing privilege that more black people should have than not. But yeah, that's all I have for right now. Just let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time.